How's it going, guys? Welcome to episode 7 of the Green Scorpion's Q&A. As usual, if you want to ask me any questions, click on the link in the video description and ask your questions there. I'm back again with 15 more questions. Let's get right to it. The first question comes from Timothy Pachirisu. Do you like Team Fortress 2? Yes, I love Team Fortress 2. In fact, I'm pretty much willing to call it my favorite first-person shooter because I love the humor in the game. The gameplay is done well too. The character roster, spectacular. I mean, I love watching them meet the videos. My favorite probably being, Jeez, I just asked myself a question. But my favorite is probably, I'd probably go with the Spies. But anyway, and, overall, the game is done very well. Valve did a great job with the game, adding a good balance of action and comedy, and, if you guys want to know, I think I answered this question before, but my favorite character to use in the game is a sniper. But, that's beside the point. Anyway, yes, I love Team Fortress 2, and, it's definitely my favorite first-person shooter. Alright, this next question comes from Blitz1 Blacktail1 and LP Kingfisher. What are your thoughts on Metroid Other M? Oh boy, I find Other M gets more hate than it should. Because, yes, I do think the story and the narrative were a bit... The thing is, the story is good. It fits, it fits what other Metroid games have presented. The execution of the story could have been done better. I mean, it did seem like it focused a little too much on fan service. However, I don't really fault a game for its story if I love the gameplay. The gameplay of Metroid Other M I found to be spectacular. They definitely tried something new, aside from the usual first-person shooter that the Metroid Prime games are known for. They took a different direction with it, and you know what? It worked. I mean, it was basically a 3D platformer in a sense, and Metroid hasn't done that yet. They've done 2D platformers on the GBAs, they've done first-person shooters and all that. Metroid Other M, I find the gameplay and the execution of the gameplay pretty well done. The story could have been presented better, but I just think that people are giving it way too much hate just because of the story. So that's my thoughts on Other M. Alright, this next question comes from Nathan Leon 9. What are your thoughts on the new Spongebob episodes? I hate them. I really do. I mean, I used to watch SpongeBob when I was younger because it's been on for like the longest time. But the new episodes of the SpongeBob The new episodes of the SpongeBob oh man, why can't I speak? The new episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants, thank you. I just found to be the characters aren't the characters anymore. I mean, look at the first season compared to the season that's going on right now. Patrick was at least somewhat reasonable. I mean, he was still stupid, but not to the level that it is now. I mean, they practically treat him like someone who's been out of the mental hospital. SpongeBob is way too cheery for his own good. I liked them a lot better in the beginning. Pretty much the only characters that really haven't changed in these new episodes are Squidward and Sandy. And I guess you could go to some of the other characters like Larry the Lobster or Mrs. Puff, but those are the Squidward and Sandy are pretty much the only ones that really haven't changed that much. Otherwise, I really don't like the new episodes. If I'm going to watch SpongeBob, I'm going to wait for an episode that came from an earlier generation. So yeah, that's my take on the SpongeBob episodes. Alright, this next question comes from A Tormalina Gamer. What's your favorite Batman villain and why? Whew, that would be Mr. Freeze. Because I absolutely love his character and backstory. I mean, ignoring the Batman and Robin movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze I find to be one of the more interesting villains. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a lot of the villains from Batman, but Mr. Freeze appeals to me the most because his backstory is so tragic that you actually feel that it's a bit justified what he does. I mean, I was discussing this with Nameless Nick the other day. We kind of categorized him as sort of an anti-villain. Because while his actions are very heinous and very villainous, you gotta give him credit for his motive. I mean, he's he basically turned into this villain who freezes everyone in sight to get what he wants, and he just wants his wife back. And the fact that it was humans and like the corporation and society that forced him to abandon his dream of reviving his wife, and that's basically what sparked the accident that turned him into Mr. Freeze. It's absolutely tragic, and I love that. If they were to make another movie about Mr. Freeze, I'd really hope they do it justice. Because Mr. Freeze, definitely my favorite Batman villain. Alright, this next question comes from a few people. Just Leveled Up, Darkness of Spirit, and Vibration Punk. What is your favorite Organization XIII member? That would be one of the characters that I really wish got more development, Luxord. Okay, I will say this much. I have a soft spot for people who can fight with playing cards, which is why Gambit is my favorite X-Men, for those of you who want to know. But I find Luxord really, really awesome, especially in 358 Days Over 2, because he was very reasonable. He's the one who pretty much treated Roxas the best, at least in my opinion. Like, he treated him as an equal, I guess you could say. And his talk about chance and luck is really cool, and I actually really like the battle against him in Kingdom Hearts 2 because it's a new spin on it. He was really challenging, but he wasn't really annoying in the lines of Demyx. But yeah, Luxord I really find really cool, and I love his look as well. You know, the whole elegant mustache, and like he's very well put together. He's clean cut, I guess you could say. So yeah, Luxord I definitely find to be my favorite Organization XIII member. Alright, this next question comes from Contra Neo 2. What's your favorite Pokemon spin-off? That would be Pokemon Stadium 2. Because Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon Battle Revolution, I found to be really lackluster. That's my personal take on it. I'm not a huge fan of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. I mean, I tried them, but I just can't get into them. So, Pokemon Stadium 2 I found to have the most fun with because it's actually a bit of a nostalgia thing for me because I had that when I was a kid, when I used to have my Nintendo 64. And I had a lot of good experiences with it. The minigames are great. Playing Pokemon on the TV was great. I loved going through the tournaments, and Gym Leader Castle is probably my favorite part of that game. I really love going through it, and it was a really, really tough challenge, especially when you get to the Team Rocket executives. So yeah, that would, Pokemon Stadium 2, definitely my favorite Pokemon spinoff. Alright, this next question comes from The Cool Vortex, Contra Neo 2, again, Super Garfield, Jordan 1, and Nintendo Tyrell. What are your favorite Smash Brothers characters? Okay, well, I guess I can name some right off the bat. Link is one of my favorite characters, as well as Toon Link and Young Link from Melee. Snake I really love using in Brawl because anyone who has faced me in Brawl when I was using Snake, they will tell you that you'd better be watching out for C4 because I love using C4 as Snake. Ike is another great one. Marth, it's hit or miss for me. Mario I love using. Let's see, who else? Kirby's probably my best character because I can use him the best, at least the way I see it. And those are pretty much the characters that stand out the most to me. In terms of Melee, it's pretty much the same deal. Though I did like using Dr. Mario in Melee as well. Other than that, yeah, like, I can use pretty much any of the characters in Smash Brothers, but those are the ones that appeal to me the most. Alright then, this next question comes from iFatDog. What is your favorite JonTron moment? Oh man, that's a good question. I really love JonTron, as some of you may know. Jeez, because he had a lot of great moments. Okay, I guess one in particular that I guess stands out to me is in his review of the Bubsy games, because probably my favorite moment from Bubsy is when he emphasizes the fact that Bubsy is constantly calling it a platforming game. I really can't decide because he had a lot of great moments. Another one I liked is from his newest review, King's Quest V, when he makes, is that what the kids are calling it nowadays in the 90s, you know, that joke. I really love that. I can't really decide a favorite JonTron moment, really. I'm sorry, but yeah, JonTron, my hat's off to you, pal, because you do some amazing work. Alright, this next question comes from GohanBoy1. Will you do a top 10 YouTubers list? No, I'm not going to do that, because while I do have, while I do think that some YouTube users or like countdown artists are better than others, I really don't like judging people like that and making it a public statement. I just don't feel right about it. I mean, yes, I can talk about a lot of the good things that a lot of the YouTubers do, but that's something I'd rather do maybe in this Q&A, you know what I mean? Because ranking them, I find to be kind of shallow. That's just me personally. I mean, I can understand why other people would do it. Me personally, I don't like the idea. So, I mean, if you guys want to do your own and include me in it, I wouldn't object to it, but okay, I'm being selfish now. But in terms of a top 10 YouTubers list, don't expect me to do it. Alright, this next question comes from ToPlayCool21. What are your likes and dislikes about the gaming industry? Ooh, that's a nice question. The likes about the gaming industry, I really love how it's becoming a new art form, in a sense. I mean, it's becoming a new method of storytelling, and it really immerses, like, I love the immersion that some games do. Like, they immerse the player into the game. That's one thing I particularly like. Story elements, there are a lot of games that have good stories, and that's something I really like as well. Gameplay is the biggest thing for me. Like, I like fast-paced gameplay, but I also like, I like all kinds of games, really. So, like, if the gameplay is good and doable, then I like it. Dislikes, well, sometimes I really just don't like it when video games just do these cash-in sequels just to get their pockets filled with some more money. I find that really just kinda lazy, in my opinion. I mean, come up with some new ideas. If you're going to do a sequel, don't just make it a cash-in and, like, make people expect it blatantly from the first game. Otherwise, like, yeah, just, I really also don't like it when the game just exists for the purpose of fan service. Final Fantasy does that a lot, unfortunately. Kingdom Hearts does it. Dissidia does it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love those games, especially Dissidia, but their stories are so... it's really biased, and I find a lot of fan service in there. Don't get me started. But yeah, that's the kind of things I don't like about the gaming industry. Fast cash-in sequels that just, they do nothing to innovate or nothing out of the ordinary to keep it going. I mean, I know Mario's done that quite a bit, but at least they throw in some different things. I mean, look at Super Mario Sunshine and Galaxy. They threw up the innovation, and like they tossed us some new twists pretty well. Galaxy 2, I do like the game, but I know some of you have probably already seen Josh Scorcher's list of overrated games. I agree with him. I myself do like Super Mario Galaxy 2, but I can see why he hates it. Otherwise, yeah, those are basically the likes and dislikes about the game industry that I can think of off the top of my head. Alright, this next question comes from Jeffrey from Jeffrey from JJJ Joyce. What do you think of Family Guy? Not a huge fan. I mean, I can see why a lot of people like Family Guy, but me personally, I'm not a fan of it. I mean, there are maybe a handful of episodes that I kind of like, and I do watch it like when there's nothing else to watch on TV, but for the most part, I'm not a huge fan of it. Alright, this next question comes from El Chapu Thingy. No, oh jeez, I've been saying that wrong, haven't I? El Chupa Thingy. Sorry about that. What are your thoughts on The Dark Knight Rises? I actually did see that recently, and I'm not a huge fan. And I say that a lot, don't I? But The Dark Knight Rises, I didn't really like it as much as The Dark Knight. And there are several reasons for that. I mean, I think it focused a little too much on Bruce Wayne's story. I mean, where's Batman, for Pete's sake? I guess it's because I have a sort of a preconception to how I like to see Batman. That would be like the kind they did in the animated series, which is why I like the Arkham Asylum and Arkham City games a lot. The movie just didn't have the Batman I know and love. And Bane was okay for me. Overall, I don't think that movie did very well. I mean, I can see why people like it, but me personally, not so much. Alright, this next question comes from Matthew Ryan. Have you played any of the Professor Layton games? If so, which is your favorite and why? I actually got introduced to Professor Layton by my friend John, and I immediately loved it. The puzzle-solving gimmick, or the puzzle-solving idea behind the whole game is done very well. Professor Layton, in my opinion, is one of the best characters that Nintendo has ever perceived. Yes, even better than Pit and Fox, at least in my opinion. And the games, like the stories in the games, are told very, very well. It takes you for some loops. The voice acting is very, very good. The gameplay, again, it's puzzle solving, which is, like some of the puzzles, I really like how they give you puzzles that you have to think hard for it, but then other puzzles they make you overthink it, thus, like, it really throws you for a lot of loops that those games do. And if I had to choose my favorite, that would probably be Professor Layton and the Unwound Future. Because I think that one has the best story of them all, and the puzzles are really challenging. And overall, it was presented very well. So that would be my favorite. Yes, I love Professor Layton. I really think he should be in the next Smash Brothers, just saying. Okay, this next question comes from J. Mitchell-Loverton. Sorry if I said that wrong. Of all the hundreds of questions you get on your Q&A, how do you decide which ones to pick? I basically go through them randomly and I skim through them, and if I see a question that I find worth talking about, I basically put it on the list. Hence this one, because I guess people like to know how I choose my Q&A questions. Basically, I mean, I know I said that they can ask anything, but again, if it's something that involves, like, a list later on, or if it's something that I don't think is going to get a lot of time, or get a lot of discussion out of it, I just kind of just skim over it. Especially if it's like, what is your favorite this, or like, what do you think of this game? I mean, yes, I do answer some of those questions, but only really the ones that are worth talking about. Alright, this next question, which is the last one, comes from Beast Gambit 39. What do you think of the modern 3D Sonic games, specifically Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Unleashed? The modern 3D Sonic games, there are a handful that I like. Sonic Color, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and yes, I actually do like Sonic Unleashed. I think it gets a little bit more hate than it should, because the Werehog stages, I can see why people don't like them, but they're not that bad. I do like the speed stages more. But, overall, like, that game's graphics and the story are pretty well done. The presentation is spectacular, and the gameplay is pretty darn good. Especially the speed stages. I mean, the night stages where you're the Werehog, again, I can see why people don't like it, but it's a good change of pace, at least in my opinion. Shadow the Hedgehog, I absolutely hate it. Because, oh man. How do I explain this? The gameplay kind of ruined it for me. I mean, it doesn't feel smooth. Shadow feels really quirky. The guns I thought were completely unnecessary. And, overall, I don't know, playing that game honestly gave me a headache. It really did. Overall, Shadow the Hedgehog, I hate. Sonic Unleashed is worth a shot in my opinion. Alright, so that does it for this episode of the Green Scorpions Q&A. Once again, if you guys want to ask me any questions, click on the link in the video description and ask your questions in that video. I'll be back next time with 15 more questions. Until then, see you guys next time.